Lewis Hamilton just topped the timesheet at the Barcelona pre-season test with Ferrari, setting a 1:16.348 on the final day to beat his former teammate George Russell's Mercedes time by just under a tenth of a second. But here's the bigger story. After a disastrous 2025 season where Ferrari failed to win a single race, the Scuderia is showing signs of a complete turnaround heading into the new 2026 regulations. Hamilton set his fastest lap late on Friday afternoon, capping off what Ferrari are calling a hugely successful week at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The seven-time world champion completed 209 laps across 3 days of running in the new SF26, and Ferrari were the only team other than Mercedes to complete over 400 laps at the test. They finished with 442 laps total, second only to Mercedes' incredible 500-lap count. But what really stands out is what Hamilton said after the test. He told the media, quote, "I really feel the winning mentality in every single person in the team more than ever, so it's a positive." Everyone's positive and incredibly enthusiastic. This is a massive shift from last year, when Hamilton struggled through his debut season with Ferrari without a single podium finish for the first time in his career. Hamilton also addressed the new 2026 cars and how different they feel compared to the ground effect era that dominated from 2022 to 2025. He said, quote, "The car generation is actually a little bit more fun to drive. It's oversteery and snappy and sliding. But it's a little bit easier to catch, and I would definitely say more enjoyable." This is significant because Hamilton made no secret of his dislike for the previous generation of cars, saying towards the end of last season that there was, quote, "not a single thing I will miss about these cars." When asked about Ferrari's progress compared to last year's testing, Hamilton was clear. He said, quote, "When you come to the test, you always want to get a lot of mileage. Today, I did 85 laps in the morning, which is amazing. That's really down to all the people in the factory who have done such a great job to make sure that the car, so far, is really reliable." Charles Leclerc, Hamilton's teammate, also had positive things to say about the test. After Ferrari's first morning of running on Tuesday, Leclerc said, quote, "It was nice to be back in the car. Back in a very, very all-new car and very different to what we have been driving so far. For now, it's all about trying to understand if everything is working properly, which it kind of did." Leclerc set the fastest time on Friday morning with a 1:16.653, which was just 2/10 slower than what George Russell had managed for Mercedes the day before. Speaking about Ferrari's checklist for the test, Leclerc explained, quote, "Little by little we'll just go through our checklist of the first systems to then eventually what matters most, which is performance. But this will come probably a bit later on in those 3 days, and trying to understand first how everything behaves and then see how it goes." Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur also weighed in on the test. When asked about the drivers' feedback on the new car, Vasseur said that if Hamilton and Leclerc were completely happy with everything, he would be desperate, adding that their feedback, being critical, is actually more positive because it means there's room for development. The numbers back up Ferrari's strong week. They completed their 3 days of running with 0 power unit issues for the main team and 0 power unit issues for customer teams. They got both wet track running and dry track running, and they had 0 track time lost due to a driver crash. Ferrari engine customer Haas had a particularly impressive final day, completing 195 laps, the single biggest daily tally recorded by any team all week. Ferrari's first day of testing was challenging because it rained, but Hamilton was proud of the team's response. He said, quote, "Very challenging today, obviously, because it started raining at 10:30. So obviously Charles had a little bit of dry running, but then it's been wet all afternoon. It was really productive. I think we got about 120 laps or something like that, given it's in the wet conditions and we had a red flag, and I think that's pretty solid. So really proud of everyone back at the factory for getting the car to this point." What do you think? Are Ferrari really back? Can Hamilton finally get that 8th world title with the prancing horse? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more F1 news. I'll catch you in the next one.